Nadina? So, a warm welcome to this premiere talk, and it's not just a premiere tonight, it's a completely new ballet that we are going to see tonight, created by Jiří Bubeníček, who is sitting here. A warm welcome to you. And the costume is created by you, Nadina Cojocaru. So not easy to pronounce, but... And I'm also very happy to have Nicolas Le Riche here, who is the artistic director of Kungliga Baletten and who has made this possible. And my name is Katarina Aronsson, and I'm working as a dramaturg here in the house. I think we should give them some applause, please. So my first question to you, Jiří, Kafka, Franz Kafka, what makes him such a fascinating author? When did you become interested in him?
So good evening, everybody. It's a big pleasure to be here and to present my work, and thank you again for the company and especially for Nicolas Le Riche to invite me and choreograph this big work for the company. So Kafka, yes, Kafka. I'm Czech. I grew up in Prague. I grew up almost exactly in the same area like Franz Kafka, in the Jewish area. I even went to the same street called Masna in Prague, where Kafka was going. And in the time before the revolution, this literature was not really allowed. And somehow I got hand of this little small book, Metamorphosis from Kafka. That was my first book I read. And I started to enjoy his literature. I started to enjoy his philosophy. And sort of after the revolution, when I left Prague and went to Hamburg to work in Germany, where I still work. I'm not in Hamburg anymore, but in Dresden. I got to read more of his amazing books and realize it's something that I'm really interested to not just read, but to get more knowledge about it and to bring it on stage. And when the possibility came, I offered this title, Processen, the process, the trial, to Nicolas Le Riche, and he really liked it as me, and then we got green light, and here we are.
Yeah. So, Nicolas, how did you react? Why did you think this would be a great idea?
I have to say that I have first read Kafka through Metamorphosis, actually exactly like Jiří. And I must say that actually Metamorphosis has been a very interesting subject to me, because sometimes I intend to make some choreography, and I was thinking actually to make a choreography on Metamorphosis. So it has been there, and I must say Kafka's world is so attracting to dance, probably because he develops an whole world which is not really set within the lines, and we believe that the human that we are caught in a system that somehow it's hard to control, and we are just trying to understand it, basically.
Yes. And Nadina, what's your relationship with Kafka?
I think this project is the beginning of my relationship with Kafka. I've studied in school, but yeah, for me all the time it was a mysterious subject. But now we had the opportunity to search about and go really deep and gather a lot of information. And find a lot of similarities of our thinking and the psychology of Kafka. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should just put it in the history. Kafka, he wrote this book between 1914 and 1915, and it was published in 1925 after Kafka's death. He died in 1924. And all his books, his novels, were published after his death because he himself said that everything should be destroyed. He didn't want anything to be published. But luckily...
He had a very clever assistant.
Yeah.
Who hasn't done
Max
it after.
Brod didn't follow these instructions.
Thanks to him.
Yeah, thank you to him. And so Die Verwandlung, Das Schloss und der Prozess, they were all published after his death. And they have become modern classics. And Der Prozess, the trial, Processen, is of course one of the biggest modern classics that many people read in schools and so on. And it's about this young man, Joseph K., who wakes up one morning and finds himself arrested and accused of a crime. He doesn't know what crime it is, and he doesn't understand anything. And the people who accuses him, they don't seem to know either. But he is guilty. That's for sure that he's guilty. So it's a fascinating story. So how have you done to sort of take this book with a lot of words and dialogues and so on and made it into a ballet, a dancing performance?
Is he guilty?
Yes.
We are all.
That's the question.
That's the question, exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, Processen, of course, it's about the bureaucracy, it's about the system, it's about the absurdity of everything, of the life, but it's also a question of one's self-existence. What is it about? Why am I existing? What in the world? All these things, what is it about? And this is sort of the metaphor to Processen for me. He is accused of crime, and he doesn't know the answer. We are here living, everyone, and do we really know why? Do we really know the answers? And he goes to many characters in the book. He meets everyone and asking for help, asking people to what can he do to study about his process. Perhaps somebody knows what he did, but nobody knows anything. And in life also, we are asking people to explain us these questions. Perhaps we ask our girlfriend, our wife, our father, what's the existence? What does it mean? We perhaps even created a church to give us answers about life. And in the end, in the Processen, he meets the priest. And the priest tells him a beautiful story that the answers you can only find for yourself inside you. Nobody can tell you the answers. And so this is for me how I started. I read the book from beginning to the end, from end to front, and I read it probably many times. I read it in English, I read it in Czech, and in the beginning I thought I didn't understand it. And more I started to read it, this is the way I understand it. And I think this is something what Kafka was trying to tell us, that the answer is inside you.
Yeah. But I was thinking, you have solved one problem with all these texts in a very special way. I'm thinking about this Finnish male scream chorus that you have invited, because they are actually, we will hear some text from the stage. So how did you come up with that idea?
Well, the whole book, when you read it, it's sort of, it's not sort of, but it is a labyrinth. It's a labyrinth, and like you said, like Nicolas said, Max Brod, his best friend, didn't listen to Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka wanted that all his writings and notes they would be burned, but Max Brod didn't do it, and he put the Processen together. And we don't really know if the chapters were even like this way done. And there's even one chapter that was not finished. And there is so much in this book and this novel, dramatic colors and many characters. And I felt like I have this amazing opportunity to use the whole company for this. Many characters, many dancers, and go even deeper, not to just express it with dance, but perhaps with text, and perhaps not just spoken text, perhaps in a different way. And when I was living in Hamburg, I went to a show and I saw this live screaming group. And I don't want to tell you too much because I really want you to see it and feel it for yourself. But happily enough, I just found this director of this group on Facebook. I said, look, there's this opportunity to make Kafka, would you like to be part of it? And they were so excited, they said yes, and the direction made it possible for us. So you will not see only dances on stage today.
It's hutajat, I think they are called, yes. So, and it will not only be them shouting, it will be also dancers and the orchestra.
I said I don't want to say too much.
But how has the dancers reacted to this, being on stage together with this chorus?
I think they took the project really positively and in a very good way. They were very curious about it. And especially when it comes to this book, how it has become a ballet, I would say, and I would quote actually Kafka, we have to remember that he has said, all language are nothing but a translation. All the time, and he was always talking about his physicality, the words that he wanted to express in his letter to Milena, for example. He was saying, well, what I would like to tell you is just in my bones, actually. So I think the dance medium is the perfect one, maybe to try to catch the substance of this book.
Yes. When you read the book, there's quite a lot of descriptions of the places where Josef K is, and also the other characters. And I don't know if there are so many descriptions of how they are dressed, but I think there are also a few descriptions of that. But could you please tell us a little bit how you have thought about the costumes here?
All those bizarre characters, I think my function was to bring them as bright as possible on stage, to bring the details that will help Jiří to say the story, there are some descriptions in the book, but for example, the wheels, one of the person who arrests Josef K, he has a lot of bucklets and pockets on his costume, but nobody understands why. It's also a weird nuance for his costumes. It helped me a lot. Also the pillows, you will see some pillows there. It's for helping to the people in the courtroom to protect the court people from touching their heads to the ceiling or the walls, because the room was very small. So there are many details that will give some spice to the ballet.
Yes, I think it really adds to the feeling that this is, you don't really know if this is realistic or if you are in a dream or in a night dream.
I may also just add that we were, as we were studying about this process, we were studying about Franz Kafka, and we have done more or less the dramaturgy together with Nadina. We also, of course, study and learn about Franz Kafka's life. And so this evening is about, it's the Processen, but it's also, there are some aspects from his life. So for us, it's not just, I find more and more I read, it's very much autobiographical, the books. And perhaps not so obviously, but yes, it's Franz K, Josef K, yes. Franz Kafka. It has a lot of connection to him, to his father, who was very strong with him. So authoritative that Franz Kafka he was, I think, four times engaged, but couldn't make the step to get married because he was feeling that his father, he would never be as his father. So there are some texts from also, not just from Processen, but also from the letters of father. You will see there is the beginning also of the ballet starts in the bed, like Metamorphosis starts in the bed, but also Processen starts in the bed. So that the beginning is more or less like a prologue to the Kafka's labyrinth world. And we were trying as much to put as much layers to this evening. Yeah. That's very important for me.
My reflection that I made when I saw the ballet and after just have read the book is that you really bring the female characters forward, because you don't really think about them. Of course, they are very important in the book, but in the ballet they are really important. So did you make a choice here, or how did you think about?
You mean the choice for the casting, or?
No, I mean that there are many scenes and they take quite a lot of time. It's a lot about the women, I would say, also.
I think for even for Franz Kafka or Joseph K, the women has a very important role. And in the Processen, the book, he is using, not let's say using them to maybe find more answers about his trial. And everything is described in a very sexual way in the book, so we a bit like took advantage of that. Yeah. And Jiří, I think, expressed that a lot in the choreography. And I think that come from Franz Kafka's life, because he had a very complicated relationship to the women. So he wanted to deepen that in the book, I think.
I'm not a choreographer, so I didn't think of all these meetings with women in the book could be pas de deux. But afterwards, when I see the ballet, it's obvious that you, of course, can make a lot of these kind of scenes and choreography when you transform this into a ballet. So, you have had a busy time. You are also a family here with your...
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. She has only 4 months, and we cannot really let her somewhere just run around with somebody.
So and, we won't keep you here too long.
She's been in all the rehearsals. All the fittings, because Nadina is, as you know, costume designer for this evening, and she always had her by her. So thank you for your patience also and support.
Yes. Yes, just a last question. What do you hope the audience will sort of bring with them when they come out from this performance? What do you hope that they will?
I think it's a good question to ask them after the show.
Yeah.
But what I hope, even if you may, it's a big labyrinth, you will see, and it may touch you, and feel free to express yourself. You can laugh, you can, you know, when Franz Kafka was speaking with Max Brod about this process and they were reading, they were kind of laughing about the absurdity of life sometimes. So feel free to express yourself if you want during the show or after the show. It's of course, you have the freedom. But if you perhaps are somebody, I see also the younger generation, if you don't know anything about Kafka, my dream will be that you go home and you just want to buy this one of the small books or Metamorphosis or the bigger ones, and just you find this literature as me very exciting, and perhaps it's a first little open door for you to discover this amazing writer.
And Nicolas?
Yes, I just wanted to say a word because Jiří will not say it, but he's an amazing mover. You have to know that. And working on the choreography, building the choreography with the dancers, he has put so many challenges to the dancers. Technically, because he has a super strong technique, he is super grounded, super compact, and it was very appreciated when he was dancers, which is Still. Not anymore? Well, still. Once you are a dancer, that's for always. So he has really challenged the dancers, and I must say that to me it was a great pleasure to see the dancers taking the challenge and trying to go and to meet Jiří in his own style, very personal, made of very strong physicality. So what you will see tonight, I don't know if I should say it, but physically it's super strong. And I must say also mentally, because Jiří has an approach to musicality, and he has chosen some music which are not totally square, I would say. And so we had some headaches there with a lot of counts. So it's a real crazy world, but I must say it was a pleasure to see him build this crazy world.
Yeah. Would you like to add something? Yes?
When you said what the public should take at home, maybe they should, after they see the ballet, something was not clear, maybe I should go to see it again, because it has so many layers, and I'm sure if you come to see it next time again, then you'll find more, you'll dig more into it. Yeah.
And this actually inspired me to say, we have, of course, 2 casts, so we were working with more casts, and if you will see tonight, not Franz Kafka, Joseph K. It's a dancer who is actually retiring this season, Arzen Megrabian, and he's saying he's very mature, and because of his age, he's saying goodbye to the Royal Swedish. But the second cast is also totally different. It's Javier, and he's 21 years old, super young. So you may, if you come second time, you may see Franz Kafka or Joseph K. totally differently, and they are both right. One is maybe the psychology, the soul. One is maybe the energy. So I'm super happy also about that there was many dancers that I could choose, because for me it's not important, or not only important the physicality, but also the psychology and how you are as an actor on stage. And they are both acting it totally differently, but exactly the right way that I wish.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming here and listening to us, and good luck tonight. Thank you.